Hello, this is Dodie from Deliberate Aging. Welcome to my podcast. Hey friends, welcome back to my podcast, where we walk, talk, and occasionally scroll our way through wellness one episode at a time. And today we're diving into a topic that's very interesting to me: social media. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it just, like the cousin who always shows up uninvited to family dinners? Well, now, if you're an older adult or someone who loves one, this episode is especially for you. Because while social media often gets painted with the same brush as a teenage angst and influencer drama, it's also become a lifeline for many older folks navigating retirement, isolation, and the search for meaningful connection. But let's not sugarcoat it. Social media does have a dark side. And no, I'm not just talking about the algorithm that thinks I want to see 47 videos about dancing. I'm talking about the mental health toll that it can take, especially when it becomes a mirror for comparison. Now, studies have shown that young people who spend hours scrolling often end up feeling worse about themselves. They compare their bodies, their lifestyles, their relationships to curated, filtered versions of other people's lives that they see on social media. And while older adults may not be chasing likes in the same way, that comparison trap doesn't magically disappear with age. But here's the twist. Social media can also be a powerful tool for older adults. It can combat loneliness, foster community, and even spark creativity. I've seen 80-year-olds go viral for knitting tutorials, dance challenges, and heartfelt advice. And let me tell you, they're not just surviving online, they're thriving. So today we're going to unpack it all: the good, the bad, and the scroll happy. We'll talk about how to use social media mindfully, how to protect your mental health, and how to turn your feed into a source of joy rather than stress. So, ready to swipe into something meaningful? Let's go. And let's start by talking about the elephant in the room: comparison. You know that feeling when you see someone's vacation posts and suddenly your backyard barbecue feels like a soggy sandwich in a thunderstorm? That's the comparison trap. And it's not just for teenagers. Research from the University of Pennsylvania found that limiting social media use to 30 minutes a day significantly reduced feelings of depression and loneliness among young adults. Now, older adults may not be glued to TikTok in the same way, but still the emotional impact of seeing others' lives seemingly perfect can still sting. So think about it. You log onto Facebook and see a friend posting their daily yoga selfies, gourmet meals, and grandkid updates. Meanwhile, you're just trying to remember where you left your reading glasses. So the truth is, social media often gets the highlight reel, not the bloopers. And when we compare our behind the scenes to someone else's polished feed, it's easy to feel inadequate. But here's the good news. Awareness is power. Once you recognize the comparison trap, you can step around it. You can curate your feed to include only things that are uplifting, follow creators who make you feel inspired rather than inferior, and remind yourself that everyone, yes, even that yoga selfie queen, has off days. They just don't take photos of those days. So now let's flip the script, because while social media can be a source of stress, it can also be a lifeline. For older adults, especially those living alone or far from family, platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and even TikTok have become virtual gathering places. I've seen older adults join Facebook groups for gardening, book clubs, and even grief support. These aren't just digital distractions, they're communities. And let's not forget the joy of sharing. So posting a photo of your latest knitting project or commenting on a grandchild's post can spark real connection. It's not about likes, it's about being seen. So social media, when used intentionally, can be a bridge rather than a barrier. It can turn isolation into interaction and scrolling into storytelling. So here are some examples of how you could use social media for good. Maybe you set a virtual family dinner where you set up your phone and eat with far-flung family. Maybe you join a virtual club. You can play games online. You can make future plans, or maybe just send a thinking of you text to someone. So now let's bust a myth, shall we? The myth that we're too old for technology. There's this lingering idea that older adults just don't get technology. That social media is for the young, the trendy, and the emoji fluent. But let me tell you something. I've seen 70-year-olds run Facebook groups like Fortune 500 CEOs. I've seen grandmothers go viral on TikTok for their dance moves, cooking tips, and no-nonsense life advice. The truth is, older adults are not only capable of using social media, they're reshaping it. They're bringing wisdom, humor, and a refreshing dose of authenticity to platforms that often feel like a highlight reel of avocado toast and gym selfies. And here's the kicker. Many older users are more intentional with their time online. They're not chasing likes or doom scrolling until 2 a.m. They're using social media to stay connected with family, share memories, and learn new things. So if you've ever felt like you're too old for Instagram or that TikTok is just for teenagers doing backflips and crop tops, think again. You belong in the digital space just as much as anyone else. And your voice, it matters. So let's talk about friendship. Not the kind where you bump into someone at the grocery store and awkwardly pretend you remember their name. I mean the kind of connection that grows through shared stories, mutual support, and the occasional meme exchange. Now, social media has opened up new avenues for friendship, especially for older adults who may be navigating retirement, relocation, or loss. I've heard from listeners who've joined Facebook groups for everything from vintage sewing to grief support. And one woman even told me she found a pen pal abroad through a gardening forum. Never met in person, but they've exchanged lots of emails, photos, and even recipes. So these digital friendships aren't shallow. They're real. They offer companionship, laughter, and a sense of belonging. And let's not forget the joy of reconnecting. Social media has helped people find long-lost classmates, childhood friends, and distant relatives. It's like a time machine with a comment section. So, of course, not every online interaction is sunshine and daisies. Trolls exist, misinformation spreads. But with a little digital savvy, and maybe a good spam filter, you can navigate the noise and find your people. So, okay, let's get real. Social media can be a double-edged sword, no doubt. On one side, it offers connection, creativity, and community. On the other, it can stir up anxiety, comparison, and information overload. So how do we stay on the good side of the scroll? So let's talk about boundaries. You do not have to be online 24/7 to stay connected. In fact, studies show that limiting screen time can improve mood, sleep, and overall well-being. So try setting a timer or choosing a specific time of day to check your feed. Second, curate your content. Only follow accounts that uplift you. Unfollow the ones that make you feel inadequate. Your feed should feel like a cozy living room, not a competitive runway. So third, engage with intention. Comment on posts that resonate with you. Share stories that matter. Use social media as a tool for expression, not validation. And finally, take breaks. Go for a walk, call a friend, read a book. Social media is one part of life, not the whole show. And remember, your mental health matters. You deserve a digital space that supports, not sabotages, your well-being. So let's shine a spotlight on some digital trailblazers. There's a growing wave of older adults who aren't just using social media, they're shaping it. One example that I recently heard of on my local news channel on television, yes, is about a 93-year-old grandmother who is traveling the country with her grandson. And she's sharing on social media photos and stories that have inspired millions. Or how about the group of seniors on TikTok who live together and they post hilarious skits, dance routines, and life advice? They've built a fan base that rivals some of the biggest influencers. Now, these creators aren't trying to be trendy. They're being themselves. And that authenticity, it's magnetic. They're proving that age isn't a barrier to creativity, connection, or influence. So, if you've ever thought, what could I possibly post? Remember this, your life is content. Your stories, your wisdom, your humor, they're all worth sharing. You don't have to go viral. You just have to be visible. So what do the experts say? Let's bring in some brain power and explore this topic. Because while I love a good anecdote, and trust me, I've got plenty, sometimes it's helpful to hear what the actual experts are saying. So Dr. Vivek Murthy, the U.S. Surgeon General, has spoken extensively about the epidemic of loneliness, especially among older adults. He's called it a public health crisis, right up there with smoking and obesity. And while social media isn't a cure-all, it definitely can be part of the solution. Now, a study published in the journal Gerontology found that older adults who use social media regularly reported higher levels of life satisfaction and lower levels of loneliness. That's huge, right? Another study from Michigan State University showed that older adults who engaged with social media felt more connected to family and friends, and even experienced cognitive benefits from learning new digital skills, keeping their brains active by learning how to use social media. But, and you knew there would be a but, experts also warn about overuse. So, a psychologist who has studied this and has studied generational trends emphasizes that too much screen time can lead to anxiety and depression, especially when it replaces face-to-face interaction. So what's the takeaway? Well, social media isn't inherently good or bad. It's a tool. And like any tool, it depends on how you use it. Use it to connect, don't use it to compare. Use it to learn, but not to lurk. Use it to share your story, not to shrink from someone else's. So now let's talk about how this impacts wellness. Because if we're going to embrace social media as part of our lives, we need to do it with intention. And here are a few tips to help you stay grounded while you stay connected. Number 1, start with a scroll ritual. So before you open your app, take a breath. Ask yourself, why am I logging on? Is it to connect, to learn, to relax? That little pause can make a big difference. Number 2, curate your feed like a garden. Follow accounts that make you feel good. Unfollow the ones that don't. You're not obligated to see every post from your neighbor's cousin's dog groomer. Number 3, set screen-free zones. Maybe it's the dinner table. Maybe it's your morning walk. Create spaces in your day where your phone stays in your pocket, or better yet, even put it in a different room. Number 4, engage with kindness. Leave thoughtful comments, share uplifting posts. Social media can be a place of generosity, not just consumption. And number 5, take digital sabbaticals. So once a week, unplug. Go analog, read a book, write a letter, bake something. Remind yourself that life exists behind the screen. These aren't rules, they're invitations. Because wellness isn't about restriction, it's about alignment. And when your digital life aligns with your values, it becomes a source of nourishment, not noise. So what did we learn today? Well, social media is a mixed bag. It can be a source of stress, or it can be a source of joy. It can isolate, or it can connect. And for older adults, it holds incredible potential to combat loneliness, to share wisdom, to build community, to learn new things. So thanks for spending this time with me. And until next time, keep walking, keep scrolling, and keep showing up as your beautiful self. Thanks for listening. This is Dodie from Deliberate Aging. Until next time, be well, friends. This podcast is presented solely for informational and educational purposes only. Use of information from this podcast is at the user's own risk. It is not intended as a substitute for the advice of your physician or other qualified professional. We are not responsible for any losses, damages, or liabilities that may arise from use of this podcast.